Just as we came in, Gareth Bale at 33 had decided to hang his boots. Well, I was a bit surprised seeing that the likes of Ronaldo are still pushing up to the age of 37. In fact, he said he'll be going up to 41. I don't know, that means he might even represent at the 2026 World Cup. Welcome, it's NTV Sport Nights. I'm Rema Daniels, and I'm telling you that we are going to have a wonderful time. It's been quite some time. We had gone for Christmas, we went there, partied, then came back. I am just welcoming you into 2023. A lot to talk about. We have Recognized Me. The producer will be placing it there for you to join our Twitter handles at sports_nights. Yeah, we'll be looking at who that is, and you'll be letting us know. And again, we'll be having the head-to-head. Now, Spain has had a number of strikers over time, the likes of Torres, Morientes, and so many others. But this time round, we are looking at David Villa. He was at Barcelona, once at Valencia. We are wondering who did it better with Raúl González of Real Madrid. Joined in the studio with Andrew, and of course I'll be having Isma with me. They will be greeting you as we go with that, and of course we'll be having our guest, one of the most respected coaches in the world of basketball here in Uganda, though he's doing his trade now in the USA. He will be taking us through his experience down there in Indianapolis, something like that. Isma will be rectifying everything there, and yeah, exactly. And of course, our chances at Chan. Oh, wow. We have represented. It's the 6th time, but we don't know how Uganda is going to be progressing down there. Our target, of course, should be going out of the group stages. Coach Micho there will have to tell us, and of course, the team here will be looking into the chances of the country. And of course, analyze this. Manchester City and Chelsea. I can tell you that time when I watched that game that, hey, Pep Guardiola is a class apart. Now Andrew will be handling that and telling us how different he is from the likes of Graham Potter. Well, 256 roundup, and it will be a day for us. Well, joined by Andrew. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Rema Daniel.
Thank you.
Glad to be back.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Happy New Year. Since last year, I've got a lot of threats from some of our viewers when we've not had the show.
The World Cup was last year. This is a new year.
Yeah, it's a new year. Yeah, I've got a lot of threats, even last week when we did not have a show. Yeah, but we all do take a break once in a while. And we are here. We're glad to have everyone joining us again on this show.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Well, your night starter, Andrew.
My starter, actually, because I was so much into holiday, some of the stuff went past me, but because we had to come back to work, I was reminded that actually starting today, some of the new rules, the World Governing Body, FIFA, has outed new rules now for football agents, who some call intermediaries. Initially, agents almost in quotes owned players in terms of how players do their businesses, how much, they had no limit to how much they could earn from players. So starting today, this Monday, the new rules are outed by FIFA to be followed by all football agents, and there will be a transition period between now and September 30th. Okay. So in between, one of the things that if you want to be a football agent, there's going to be exams. There's going to be exams.
I talked about something like that.
Yeah,
training to intermediaries.
Yes, there are going to be exams. Exams set by FIFA. Of course, run by member federations.
Sure.
And then there will also be an annual license paid by the football agents. So you've got one. There's a catalogue of eligibility rules. Okay. That's one. Now, once you see that you fit into that, then you can now apply for exams, like you apply for the license. After you've passed the exams, of course, you get the license, and then annually you've got to subscribe If you miss, then you repeat the process.
Wow.
But between now and then, those that are existing continue working, but still there are rules within which they must run. But the thing that came out the most is the money, the agents' fees.
It's
now,
been
that's where...
They had that autonomy.
Yes.
I mean, they decided, they made their rules.
I looked at the figures.
They made that better
in 2022, last year, agents worldwide earned $623 million in commissions. That's 2.3 trillion Uganda shillings.
Crazy money there.
2.3 trillion Uganda shillings. Now, of that, the late Mino Raiola, the famous agent who represented the likes of Pogba, Erling Haaland, Ibrahimovic.
Yeah.
Now, that Mino Raiola, at one point, the move that really had FIFA expedite the push.
Yes, okay.
Juventus paid him $29 million out of the $111 million that cost United to get him. Now, on top of that, he got extra pay from the player, that's Pogba, and United. Now, as per the new rules, in transfer fees, they've been given a cap. Now, if you own a player,
okay,
you can get up to 3%. That's in transfer cap. Now, if that agent also has a player as a client plus the club that's buying him,
okay,
he also gets 3% from the club that's buying him. That makes 6% if. Now, that's where having dual clients is allowed. Okay. Now, if the agent is of the selling club, like the selling club is the client, okay, now the agent gets 10%.
Wow.
Now, when it comes to annual earnings, if your client who is a player or coach earns up to $200,000 or less, you can earn up to 5% of that.
Okay.
Now that includes countries like Uganda, because no player makes $200,000.
Yes. Now that's where countries like Uganda, like you say, 5%. Up to that. Now, if you read international press, UK and all, they don't even mention the 5.
They don't.
They talk 3, because if you earn annually $200,000 and above, you can earn up to 3%. So that, in a way, makes sure the player retains more money. Also, the clubs retain more money.
So, in other words, they are protecting the club and the player.
Yeah, they're protecting the club and the player, but also structuring it well, so that if you remember the Carlos Tevez saga, some group, some cartel owned him, not the club, and then United was dealing with third parties and all that might be forced. So, of course, there will be issues, black market are raising and all, but that is now dependent on the client. If you're the client, want to engage in that, that's on you. But at the end of the day, if you want the deals to work out well and structurally, so that you both stand to benefit and the club, perhaps this could be a good one.
For me, one of the things, and from what comes out from what Andrew is stating, it's actually shocking that for the time football has had agents, they've never worked under a certain kind of structure.
Yeah.
It's down to a relationship between a player and an agent. And actually, it's perhaps much easier to regulate in places like Europe, with all the eyes of FIFA Pro and all this kind of information. I would imagine now
that's
what happens.
There.
Yeah, I would imagine what happens now to players in countries like ours, because these rules are going to apply across the board. And for me, the rules are not even new, how to become an agent. If you go back, way back in time, it was about doing exams, then you get a license. Then after that, it became about paying an annual subscription fee to get a license. Previously, now the two have come together. What FIFA have done,
they've married them.
They've married the two in the way that one former FIFA spokesperson would do. They've married the two, the exams and the license fees. I don't know whether that is it. Maybe this creates better agents, but for me, what FIFA is trying to fight is honesty of transparency in this kind of deals. And today, probably everyone who has been in the game, some of the ex-players, and some of us may be watching from outside, many of us in the media or lawyers who understand the game of football. The easiest avenue to make football money presently is in agent fees. Because it's a lot of money. It's quite a pool that FIFA had previously ignored. I would not be shocked, for example, in a few years where FIFA maybe will demand that a certain percentage in royalty fees goes to FIFA. Even if they said 1%, imagine 1% in a place.
To FIFA, you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't be shocking, because there could be a window where it's £1 billion.
Care of by the annual subscription, or that goes to the member associations?
It goes to them because agents are registered by the member association.
Yes, but in this
if Andrew wanted to be a member, you register through FIFA. In Mengo, it's FIFA who submit to Zurich to say, we have an agent called Andrew Mwangusha from Fort Portal. So it's
and is this good?
Yeah. Even if it was
about
bad.
The agency issues, the agents' issues. Ronaldo used a different agent this time around when he was handling this deal in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I don't understand what happened to Jorge Mendes.
I don't think
there were some disagreements.
There are disagreements with him, but I also don't think that there is what you'd call monopoly on players. They could have different people handling different things.
In the new rules, actually, you can have an agent, but you can also negotiate your own deal. Like if in that representative agreement, if the agent should not tie you to only him, that's not allowed.
Yeah.
Wow, Isma, your starter.
My starter is starts from where I spent part of my weekend. On Friday night, I was in a place where there was Cindy performing, and I'm a big fan of Cindy. I've known her since my childhood. I once lived in a neighborhood where she didn't live too far away. So when she walks in with all this boom party, the boom party warms my heart and all these things. But it's not because I had Cindy to sing for me in my house. I was at the National Council of Sports end of year dinner in Lugogo, where council was celebrating some of their achievements from the previous year and projecting what would happen 2023. To be honest, the first thing that I noticed, the invites were sent by Mark Sally.
Mark Sally?
Yeah.
That man didn't invite me.
As
he thought I was still in photo.
Maybe thought you're still out of town. Yeah, but I was invited. I was part of a group of journalists who were invited. So at this event, while my highlight was Cindy, let me talk about the things that were not the highlights, but they're all part of the occasion.
The occasion's highlights.
The occasion's highlights. One of the things, that was a chief guest right there on screen, and former Minister of Sports, Hamson Dennis Obua, who is currently government chief whip. Of course, accompanied by his friend, Peter Ogwan, the Minister of State for Sports. And one of the things I noticed, they were all in a very happy mood. They were very jovial. Wherever they came from to attend this event, probably had some kind of contagious effect. They came to Lugogo extremely happy to have, to be part of this. Now, what you notice there, the awards being given. Now, there were several awards given to federations, to administrators, to all kinds of people. Now, there are those that got a smile on my face. Of course, first of all, I was very pleased to see some, because I've worked with NCS before, I was very pleased to see some of my colleagues winning in Employee of the Year category. There were several of them. Because when I was at NCS, I can be very proud that I am part of a team that started this kind of culture. The awards for employees and the federations, the first ones that we held back in 2018, and by then I just joined the federation, and the culture has continued to this point. So I was pleased to see some of my colleagues being awarded as employees of the year, as best employees in NCS. Now, of those, the final one of employees of the year went to the General Secretary, Dr. Bernard Patrick Ogwell, and I can imagine it's been a very difficult end to the year. There's been a lot of not so good news about what NCS has been doing.
What was the award for?
Distinguished employee. Dr. Bernard Patrick Ogwell. So he's one of the beneficiaries. And I can't say he deserves it, your judgment.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Dr. Ogwell. Now, it comes at a time when there's been a lot of controversy around NCS. There is that parliamentary inquiry that is ongoing, the cash bonanza around the games that were held in Birmingham and in Konya, in Turkey, those kind of things, and the fight involving federations accusing NCS of not giving them money, then asking them to account for money. There's all that controversy around that entire thing. So then came to awards for federations. Of course, athletics were given for what the Kiplimos and Cheptegei's do. Ludo were given, they won the World Cup, which Ludo you may find casual. Even in my village, Nachibembe, a few weeks ago, I was there, and they were playing.
Ludo won the World Cup?
Yeah, they won the World Cup this last year in Dubai. There were several of them who got awards. Cricket got an award, rugby got an award. Then there comes an award for inclusivity, the most inclusive federation, and that went to FUFA because they have age group competitions and age group teams and women and men. So they are wider and their reach is much wider than many of the other federations. So maybe, it was a bit surprising.
Maybe inclusivity wasn't fully defined.
Yeah, it wasn't defined.
The way I understand it, perhaps might be differently abled people as well.
Yeah, okay. These days I even decided, I think, blind football. The one they haven't picked up a bit is amputee football. I've been at the forefront of helping some people who started this amputee football, and actually even got them to Kabamba, the barracks where they keep the soldiers who have been hurt during war. So those kind of things. So that one was not one of those, but they were given inclusive. Actually, when they read out FUFA receiving an award,
it's a fair award.
Yeah, when they read out FUFA receiving an award, my mind ran to they are going to be awarded for the under 20. So and it wasn't that, because the others were given for success, and this was for inclusivity. So it was a bit new. Then we went to administrators. Now Samuel Mahaba Muwonge, who is the president of Uganda Cycling Association, was given an award for being the longest serving federation head.
Lifetime Achievement Awards?
No. For long serving. He has been head of cycling since 1991.
Oh my God.
So that's encouraging, I don't know, dictatorship, monarchy, I don't know.
Experience.
What do you mean encouraging?
You know that's a wrong signal. They're literally telling the big man that everything is okay, we can proceed. That award should be scrapped.
Yes,
so it was quite interesting.
Dr. Bernard Ogolle, that award should be scrapped immediately.
No,
for being long serving, for his service.
Reward players for longevity, not administrators. In their roles.
Anyways, so it was also a very interesting award. Then thereafter, after the events of Friday night, of course they stretched up to about 4 a.m. in the morning into Saturday morning. Then there's a team led by the Minister of State for Sports, Peter Ogwang, that traveled to Teriet. They had gone to inspect the works on the High Altitude Training Center, which has been constructed. Remember, this Teriet first came up in 2010. After Moses Kipsiro won that double gold in the Commonwealth Games in New Delhi, in India, when he went to State House, he asked the president that we need a training center, and the president said it would be granted. 2 years later, in 2012, Stephen Kiprotich goes and wins that gold in the marathon, Uganda's first in 40 years. So it helped us amplify that, and then it was awarded, and eventually named, I think, the Stephen Kiprotich Altitude Training Center. So 11 years later, Andrew, and this is a thing that should bother every Ugandan about government projects. 11 years later, phase 1 of the project is not done.
Actually, if we go down to do
you could even say 13 years from when the president
if we could go down and analyze the number of trips by the ministry to Teriet, I think part of the money to fund the project could be there, because they visited that place countless times to launch, to relaunch, to pre-launch, to check on it, to see the roads.
The minister has made it a point to go there every quarter. And also the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports has been there before. Now, the previous Minister of State for Sports, Hamson Obo, has been there. So has Peter Ogwang. And they made it a point to go there everything else, because I think he was there for Ogwang, with the current Minister of this docket. He was there in September and has returned in January. And when he got there and it's not done, because there was promise that it should be done by now, and the engineer was telling him in one of those videos that we needed 90 extra days, and Ogwang says, no, I'm giving you 45 days. And I'll be here, and this was going to be done. So for me, we've cried out, and we come to these forums every other time, and one of the things that I've said repeatedly, that we need to sort out facilities. This training facility, the economic benefit of these facilities has very little to do with how many medals we'll win. The commercial value that we'll gain with some people will come here train. You know how much money people spend to go to Iten in Kenya to train, they keep Siros, they keep Rotich, the Joshua Cheptegei before, has been a lot of money. And Iten has made a lot of money from even European runners. We know Mo Farah's story. We know Galen Rapp from the US. They've all come to Kenya to train for these big events. Now, while the government may not see the economic benefit of just having a training center for people from the Sebei sub-region to go and do their running, it's extremely important that they see the value of this high-altitude training center in the amount of money it's going to generate for this economy. And that's why, for me, it means extremely urgent that we have this center ready.
12 years, phase 1, we want to host AFCON in 2027.
That'll be a story for another day, Andrew. And of course, it's the NTV Sport Nights. You can always go onto our Twitter handle at sports_nights, all hashtag NTV Sport Nights, and engage in this conversation. Powered by DSTV. Don't you forget, I'm sure you enjoy the festive season, and I'm pretty sure you can now upgrade after paying, for your current package, and then upgrade to the next one by DSTV. To tell us who exactly that is, we look at athletes from childhood, you look at how they developed to be where they are. So you'll tell us exactly who that is in the picture and what they are, of course, apparently in the world of sports. And don't forget the head-to-head. We have David Villa, one of those, he's cool, and Raul Gonzalez. Yes, he was for Real Madrid, but very prolific strikers. They are so clinical, and, we enjoyed a lot of their goals. I don't know who did it better, but you will tell us on your Twitter handle there, rush there, go to @sport_nights, and you tell us exactly who did it better. Definitely, I'm sure you choose a Rahul or a David Villa as far as you are concerned. But we are joined in the studio by Coach Gad Eteu. I had to ask my colleagues here, what's the difference between a manager and a coach?
Managers wear single color shoes
and suits.
I want to request our floor manager Miro to just have a glance at Gad's shoe.
Oh, wow.
Because when he first walked in, it's the first thing that caught my attention. I actually asked him that how many colors are you wearing?
I looked at the shoe and then the shirt. I was like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's what they call a coach.
A coach or manager?
A manager would have a single color.
I think it happens when you cross over.
So the coach bit comes with flamboyancy and, colors and
you
all
see
that.
the colors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to NTV Sport Nights. Go ahead.
Oh, man.
Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. It's kind of deja vu all over again. I think I remember many years ago, I guess it was like 2009, when the very first sports show started over here.
Yeah.
I think I was one of the first guests here, so this is really nice.
Then there were hard drinks on the show.
Oh, yeah.
That was with our colleague Leon Senyange.
Right.
And you've been away. I haven't seen you in 9 years, because I last saw you, I think, in 2014.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
And I can almost boast on the show that I used to know you.
And I was kind of skinny back then, right?
Yeah, you've gained a bit of weight. America hasn't treated you too bad,
True.
Before we get into the sports, where were you on January 6th, 2020?
I was at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Watching on TV like us?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Were you scared?
Just a little bit disturbed, but it's U.S. politics.
Okay.
Just partake of it, just like anybody else, and
did you
hope for the best.
Did you believe Trump would overdo a coup or something?
I don't. It's nice. Look at we have very good laws over there, and the laws there are really observed by everybody. So I was very confident with the laws in the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to say, and perhaps taking a bit of Daniel's task, that I've known Gad Eteu from, I think, on a personal level, I think 2007.
Right.
Yeah, the finals between Falcons and Warriors. That's the first time I got to meet him.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd seen him from a distance as a fan, but that's when I had the opportunity to start interacting with people within basketball. And by then was, I think, part of the Falcons. Yeah, in 2007, would eventually cross over and betray Falcon and join Warriors.
Just like Monday did.
Just like Monday Jeremy did. And eventually go to Warriors and win them their first basketball championship, 2009.
Right.
Then would return to Falcons, then get Falcons back to the finals, then lose Falcons the final. He's part of the reason why basketball today has a problem called City Oilers. Because the first championship that City Oilers won, they beat Falcons in the final in 2013. And Gad was coaching Falcons. So had Gad Eteu been a good coach in that
and on top of that,
would not have the problem that is City Oilers.
After that,
he decided
he took off.
And
managed to keep raising the
But Oilers cemented their prowess.
Yeah.
I mean, they are
then he took off, because I've seen him in that time coach the Silverbacks and do a lot of other things. So glad to have you on the show. I've not seen you in 9 years, so yeah.
Must be exciting.
Yeah.
Wow, Coach, you're very welcome. Take us through your transition from Uganda to the USA and then taking on soccer and coming up, your height. I mean, I'm one person who has been, I'm one person who always, I'm like, Ugandan basketballers are not that tall. I mean, I've seen the NBA guys with the muscles, the Devin Bookers, too tall and, throwing those baskets. This guy James LeBron, they are that height. The late Brian, that height. The Shaquille O'Neals, and I'm like, Ugandans, no, I don't think they match up to those guys, and I wouldn't expect you guys to compete. But then look at you there, but still you leave basketball and go into soccer. Yeah.
Well, as you guys all know, everybody that kind of starts their sports career here in Uganda pretty much starts with soccer, right? Once we're out of that womb, that's the first thing we do, play soccer. So I did that most of my primary school, a little bit of high school. A lot of people do not know, but I actually did martial arts as well in high school. I started playing basketball in, I think it was senior 3. That's when I started playing basketball up in Mbale.
That's Nabumali?
In Masava SS.
Masava SS, okay.
And then, kind of helped the school build its first basketball court as well. Take me with a couple other guys. It's funny, I have a friend of mine, he lives with me in the US, and we're always talking about it, and I'm like, dude, can you imagine what we're doing back then? I don't even know what we're doing, calling ourselves basketball players back then. We were really good at soccer. That's what we were, kind of born with. So for me, the transition was easy once I moved to the US, because I moved to a state that is pretty much considered the basketball capital of the United States. That's Indiana. Actually, the NCAA is in Indiana, the headquarters of NCAA.
Someone needs to be helped to understand that NCAA is college sport.
Right, right. A lot of stars come from Indiana, so a guy like me moving there to coach those guys, basketball was kind of unique, right? So I just went to what I knew best from childhood, and of course just transferred the skills.
Had you done any football coaching badges before?
Right.
Or you just walk in and if I went to Vietnam and I'm Brazilian and I told them I'm around football, they take me on.
Take you in.
I've seen Ugandan colleagues who've, for example, had education in India, and we have a lot of them around basketball. And the moment they see black and they think you're American, if you walk in, you're the 5. You're immediately the center in that team. So I'm thinking, do you just transition? Do you go and do some badges to?
Yeah, so when I moved to the US, I actually was working as a sports coordinator for one of the biggest YMCAs over there. And so I did a lot of my US license trainings in soccer. But also when I was here, I think we were trained by a guy called Gad Eteu some time back.
The German.
Yes, the German. So I've had a bunch of those trainings, even when I was working with the Kids League here in Uganda. So it was just a matter of saying, okay, kanokaganye, let me try this one. Right?
Nice.
And, you know, I've really had a good response. We had about 17 kids when we first started in 2020 during the pandemic, and then now we've trained over 700 kids.
Ooh.
Yeah.
In a little 3 years from 17.
That's
You know?
so huge.
Yeah.
So what are these facilities from these pictures? What are you using? Because I want to take this to Bugweri.
I don't know. That's probably $60 million worth of a facility. But that's one of the biggest soccer, basically sports facilities in the United States, actually.
Okay.
And I partnered with them to run soccer in the building. So we do, you know, the youth programs, and I also work with a bunch of immigrants. I have an adult league that I run that has, you know, people from over 32 countries, basically 10 teams. So, yeah, if you can take it to Bugweri, that would be really good. I'm hoping to take it to
when you're working with
Kaberamaido.
these kids, because we know the US, you know, American football, basketball. So when you're working with these kids, who are you telling them about in sport? Like, which league do they even follow? The MLS?
So they definitely follow US soccer. That's kind of a big thing. But they also follow the Euro League a lot. A lot of people like Ronaldo, obviously, and then a lot of people like the South Americans a lot. So Messi is a huge, you know, popular star over there. Then of course we have, you know, the MLS that a lot of people follow. We actually have a team in Indiana called Indy 11 that actually I partner with as well. We do some things with them, you know, to just kind of come and help the kids with, you know, showing them the ropes.
You know, you're lucky, Gad, to transition from Uganda to the US in your adult life. I remember we had, I remember Karunji, Sharon had on the show, and she told us about how difficult it was for her to transition when she came out of Chibuli SS, and then she's going to the US for basketball. Then she starts playing and she gets injured, spends a year out of the game, then gets back onto her scholarship that she had attained. I can imagine it must have been hard for you when you get into the US. Of course, the first thing you normally don't get is a job. So how difficult is that for you? Transition from the comfort of our Rolex in one day gear after whooping to that life, you know?
That's how it used to be. Just after a stressful game, you would torment me the whole time. But it made it fun. But yeah, it's you. To be honest with you, you need a minimum of 10 years to really say, all right, I'm an American. But one thing I love about Kampala is it builds the hardest of all of them, right? If you can survive here in Kampala and do things here in Kampala,
sure,
you can do anything pretty much anywhere in the world. But you know, for any guy, you know, that's going in the adult life, you definitely want to check any Ugandan mentalities at Entebbe Airport, and then give yourself at least 2 years to just kind of get yourself off the ground. But for me, you know, thankfully, sports, you know, sports really helps. I started by volunteering in a bunch of colleges in Chicago and then also in Indiana. So that kind of helped me get recognized. And, you know, Americans love people who want to contribute to the society. They will definitely gravitate to you and help you get to where you want to be. And so for me, the journey was, I want to say, God has been on my side, definitely. But also I put in a lot of hard work on it.
Then you're now back here. Why are you here? Why are you home? Because
kind of, before he answers that, can we first stick to the US and have you been in contact with Ibra Sekaja?
Just a little bit on Facebook. So I know he's coaching that New York team. You know, I've reached out to him. I've reached out to a bunch of soccer players from here. I'm also doing the UNA soccer tournament every year.
Okay.
I'm involved in that. You know, kind of helping bring the community together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's
So then you've worked there. You have this comfortable facility, and you want to take this Kabera Maido. So why are you here? Why you?
I mean,
why now?
You know, east or west, home is best, right? It doesn't really matter where you go, home is best. I miss my Rolex, just so you know.
No, not the watch you're wearing.
No, not this.
and the phone up there.
The real Rolex, you know? Not these guys who
not this one. But my heart is so dear here in Uganda. You know, I come from a big family. And so I have those responsibilities that, you know, call on me every time. But also I just want to do some things for Uganda, definitely.
Exactly, because that's why I was coming, because I've seen on your profile there are things you're doing with age groups. Under 17, I think, is the eldest, besides the adult league. So how do you bring those? Because I'm one of those people, and the other week I was reading a story about Henry Kalungi, the former, he doesn't like to be called former, the Uganda Cranes defender, has not been summoned to the national team, I think, in what, 7 years now? 8 years, because since 2015. And we talk about how he needs to come home and do something for the kids. He's done some Christmas stuff. And I thought it was fabulous. And many times, because of a situation where we are as a society, I think we need every kind of hand that we can get. So when I see Gad Eteu go and prosper and do something in a community where resources, $100 may not mean much to many people there, and I know what $100 would mean to a community like mine, where I come from. So I'm there, I'm almost carrying my begging basket to studio and telling God, you know, drop something. But not for me, but for the community. So I would love to all this success that you've enjoyed so far, and it's not even the biggest success. What then do we get in return? Because
so you know, you kind of have to feed the cow first before you
before you milk it.
And that's kind of been my main focus these last couple of years. I just wanted to make sure you know, the cow is fed well. So I think now I've reached a point where you know, through my organization that I started over there, International Sports for Change, we have kids that donate some of their old equipment that a kid here would definitely value a lot. I mean, I started without a pair of shoes, you know, playing basketball. So my goal is eventually to just kind of bring all that stuff here and create a little bit of study opportunities and just exchanges between kids here and kids back the other side. So that's now where we're trying to kind of pivot to, you know, starting this year with my organization.
Speaking of that organization, tell us, throw more light on it, such that the average Ugandan would know what exactly ISC is all about.
So if you go to the website, it's iscsoccerleagues.com. And, you know,
ISC, International Sports for Change.
Okay. But soccerleagues.com, that's kind of what the leagues is about. Again, through that program, you know, we attract people. Well, first of all, we're working with immigrant kids, right? And immigrant families, and just the local kids from there. And we're telling them, hey, you know, there's a kid in Africa who could use that shoe that you're throwing away, right? So we collect that stuff, and the goal is to probably fill up like a 40-foot container. And then just kind of identify some organizations that we think work well with the vision that ISC has. And I've been in interactions with a couple of them already. And I'm also working on starting a foundation here as well. You know, that way it's an easier transition with the URA here. because as you guys know, there's that challenge. But yeah, we're working on some things for sure.
Now, Gad, I want to bring you back home. We've blamed you for letting City Oil beat us all these years. Andrew, I actually said you caused the problem by losing to City Oilers in 2013 when you were still coaching basketball here for Falcons. Andrew actually went further and said, then you ran away. A year later.
And the man who beat you is still in charge.
Still here. Manager is still here in charge. So you're part of the problem, if you admit as much.
But is it
I don't think
it's a problem?
I don't think it's a problem. You know why?
Yeah.
I saw that happening way before these guys even ever made it to the top flight.
Okay.
Yeah, because
so them in lower division for 2 years.
Because you know, sports really requires a lot of organization. It's sad that here it's still recognized as a fun venture. Yet over there it's a multi-billion-dollar business, right? Literally. Right from our programs that we run all the way to the senior programs. I don't know whether it's the administrators or, you know.
Sometimes I think it's a society.
Yeah,
it's society because kids right from a young age are told to study, to become doctors and nothing else. If you don't become a doctor, you're going to be a failure.
Exactly.
Sportsmen are seen that way, and sometimes that is but I want to drive you to that basketball. I know while you've been away, you've been following. Yeah. You've seen what City Oilers have been doing. Is that even good for basketball? That a team goes and wins 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well,
is that even good for the game?
The game? I think that happens briefly, Coach. Ismail, we'll come back with that. Still with Coach Gad Eteu, and he's telling us what really went wrong after his departure to the USA. City Oilers bossing around. I mean, they are the giants, and they feel untouchable and unstoppable at the same time. Yes, you can continue that.
I mean, so they used to say that about Falcons when we were winning, you know, championships back in the day, right? But it was all because we were so organized. You know, the late John Simbwa really, you know, he impacted a lot of us, most of us in the US right now, or somewhere in Europe or something like that. But just the level of organization that City Oil has, you know, and then the amount of money they invest in their teams. You know, you can't fault them for the success they're enjoying. I think if other teams want to step up to that plate, they have to step up because basketball is won behind the scenes. If the players are happy, they'll come on court and deliver. Now you have a right to hold them accountable, right?
But you know what, Gad? While you've been away, and I know you watch a lot of Ugandan basketball even when you're not here. And luckily, unlike in the era when Falcons were the best team in the league, or when you won a title with Warriors, now there's a lot of it on television. You can be able to watch. And you sit there sometimes and you see these plays that opposition coaches are calling and you want to pluck your hair out. You're thinking, they're losing a game by 2, by 3. Then the next one by 2, and you're thinking, those finals you've seen when you see you have lost to City Oilers twice, going into game 7. You saw Nam Blazers this year, get to game 7. There's been sweeps in there. Power was swept 4-0, so I care you. And so you're watching in there and you think, what about the coaching levels? Because while you coached here all those years ago, still it's Monday journey.
Yeah, man. I met
the other coaches? I know you still remain in touch with these people. What's happening with them?
I met Monday actually on Thursday, and we're going to play basketball tomorrow. And I actually congratulated him for holding the fort this long. And I asked him, "Where's the morale? Do you still?"
There's a motivation.
And he was like, until somebody else comes and takes me away, I'm still here, right? But yeah, to your point, definitely do get frustrated sometimes. And I think that's why I kind of stayed away from it a little bit. I think
there are good coaches in here. Nicholas Natuhereza churns out players, because every time a player joins UCU, that player is raw. walks in after high school. In 2 or 3 years, you see them and they are good, of course. But the turnover of university is something you cannot avoid. You see, you're bound to lose players every 3 years. And besides Nicholas Natuhereza, you've not seen several other coaches.
I think there's the kid from Namblazers, Steve Escodata. He's definitely raw, but he's done amazing, right? I think for me when I was here, one of the things that we did, actually me and Monday, I think that separated us a lot from everybody else, was that we invested a lot of our personal money. You know, all these flights we used to take to go for trainings. So I think the young coaches need to invest. There's always, I think, light at the end of the tunnel. You know, there's no success without hard work, and some of that has to be sacrifice that people have to make behind the scenes.
Guys, lastly from me, I know Rema want us to move. Talking of turnovers and universities, your former team, the Warriors, actually, it didn't just turn over, it folded. How? Temporarily folded. I knew it would be back one day. If we live long, it will be here. How does that make you feel?
Sad, to be honest. Sad. But, hey, if that's the route they chose to take, then it is what it is. But I kind of feel sad, for sure. You know, I try to call some of the guys and see what they can do about it, but it seems like that's what's been decided.
Although for now, history will say that you are the last winning coach.
I guess I won them their first one in over 20 years. That's not going to be taken away from me. And I won Falcons the last one. I think that will stay the way it is. Maybe.
Especially given where they are now.
Exactly.
Consider that Falcons are oscillating between the top tier and the lower.
Well,
and maybe Rema, before you let him go, just throw some controversy. Your best 5. Uganda.
Of all time?
Yeah, of all time. Basketball.
All right, I'll go with Steve Omoin, Norman Bleak, Henry Malinga, the late Wilbur Okecho. Okay. And Ben Komakech.
Ben Komakech gets into the conversation.
Yeah.
No Jimmy? First man off a bench?
You just said throw.
Oh,
you see what you just started? Now my phone is going to blow up.
It's been wonderful having you, Coach around. Thank you for coming, really, and honoring our invitation.
And please tell them it's called football.
It's football, it's not soccer. It's football.
I'll lose my license.
And the ball. Not soccer, no way.
I'll lose my license.
When you land in Indiana, the first thing tell them, it's football.
Hurricane told them the same. We are still running until the end. And of course, Andrew is already on the screen to look at. Analyze this. We are looking at the 4-0 thumping by Manchester City of Chelsea. Graham Potter having issues there. I don't know what's going to happen after what happened in the FA Cup final, but then let me hand you over to Andrew to take you through the analysis of whatever went on at the Etihad in England.
Thank you very much, Rama. What happened actually was a thumping, and a thumping from a side that comes synonymous to thumping Chelsea, only that the Premier League was a 1-0, Isma calls it 1-0 thumping. But this one here, 4-0, the FA Cup third round. Yes, Ismail?
But Andrew, before you even go any further, when teams play against each other, let's say the way Chelsea and City did, 2 games within 72 hours, or you could say 96 hours, Thursday and Sunday, the quick turnaround. What happens in that period that I want us to understand how Chelsea was so good losing 1-0. I don't think they deserve to lose the game last Thursday in the league. Then they become so bad a few days later.
Against City 1-0, yes, they were good. They competed, actually, that's the word. They competed. Although City's quality told in the end. Perhaps you could say they exerted lots of energy in it, and City stretched them. And this time around, when they came, actually, City, when you look at the bench, you could argue, you look at the bench and then the team that is on the pitch, still the depth of City and what they have, the guns. It's not just the numbers. Anyone they throw on the pitch can actually hurt you, as you saw with Palmer.
The bench bullies you itself.
Yes.
Because Andrew, you're telling me here that
17
you were
minutes
shocked,
to go.
You're shocked seeing Haaland
17 minutes to go. 3-0 up, and Guardiola told Haaland to warm up. and your Chalaba and your Koulibaly looking at this, and you're like, I mean, what more do you want?
And actually, from those Man City starters, there were 6 of them who did not start the game against Chelsea the previous week, including Riyad Mahrez, who was a star.
And he was as fresh as you saw.
He was as fresh, you know.
Yeah.
So
talking Riyad Mahrez, actually he bossed this game, and for this game, the worry for Chelsea fans is actually may not be the scoreline, but the apathy, the lack of competitiveness in the game, because City just steamrolled over them, and everyone in City who had the ball, they stretched them, they outpassed them, everything went City's way. And as you see the goals, if we just go through right through them here, the passing, Ismail, the passing, the assuredness on the ball, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Palmer, that's the very first chance there. Palmer should have scored, of course, assassinated against Kepa here. Perhaps Kepa, that's the closest he came to working out something in stopping City. But once, there you go, side netting. The supposed save from Kepa actually could have turned it in, if you look at that. Kind of tried to drift it in. And after that, you're thinking, before Chelsea scored, rather before City scored, they were all over the place. Now, look at that. That's Alvarez there, the World Cup winner, giving to Mahrez. And right there, the young Hall is drawn into a foul. Very clever from Mahrez, if you see in the replay. Just putting the foot right in front of the ball and Hall ramming into him. And what a better position, Ismail, for Mahrez. Mahrez has scored 5 goals against Chelsea.
Yeah, he loves Chelsea.
3 of them this season. So, and this is one of them here. And look at the wall. The wall seemed quite far, but the way he drifted it in over the wall and then just coming back down in time. I can't blame Kepa here. It was a quality, well-executed free kick.
Exactly.
And looking at Guardiola, you'd think he should be
celebrating. He's giving directions.
That in itself is having Chelsea players and their manager. Wait a minute, he should be celebrating. But clearly, Mahrez was in fine form here, and he was in the mood. You'd think Ziyech on the other side at Chelsea should be playing the same role. But different structures, different players, and the way they pass the ball and the system clearly. And right here, the marking, and then Havertz. Handball in the box, VR intervenes, and the World Cup winner, of course, Alvarez, getting a chance.
You know, Andrew, you should pause the video.
You want to see that handball?
No, not the handball. From all the things you're saying, every time you say World Cup winner,
Argentina.
If I was a finance manager of this company, you'd get your February salary tomorrow. Because every time you say World Cup winner, you warm my heart, you know.
Okay, let's proceed. World Cup winner Alvarez.
Andrew, briefly.
But yes, Rama.
Yes, Andrew, I really want briefly for you to talk about the Mahrez free kick. I feel it was such a beauty to just go like that. Please.
I know the Mahrez free kick, like I told you, the way that ball drifted over the wall.
Yeah.
And perhaps Andrew, it also starts with the position, because when that free kick is given away and it's right in that angle, for left footer with that kind of distance, because remember he had another free kick in that game that was about 19 yards out, very close to the 18-yard box, and there was no time to bend it over the wall. I think also Ziyech had another one. So it perhaps is helped by the fact that the distance for me is perfect. It's about
distance is perfect,
25 yards and then the angle.
There were 2 left footers there. You had Bernardo Silva and Mahrez. Of course, Bernardo Silva was just, trying to play on the heads of Chelsea. It was Mahrez's territory. And for me, I thought the wall was a little bit further. Should have been closer. But you can't take it away because the way he drifted this ball over Gallagher. And as you can see there, over Gallagher. Now, Kepa, you could argue maybe he didn't see it, he wouldn't have got it, because the elevation of the ball was straight into the 90-degree corner. And for me, that is the difference, because once it flew over the wall, there was only one outcome of this goal. There you go, in slow motion.
Amazing.
Kepa actually went there, right there. That's a better angle, but it was just too far. So that's a goal. You cannot blame Kepa. The wall as well stood, but he just lifted it over.
Reminds me of the 2019 final.
So we got to the World Cup winner, like Ismail said. He did strangle this one in. Not a clean penalty. Kepa doing very well, as you can see. There you go. Of course, VAR intervening. Havertz jumping with the arm up out of natural position. Clear penalty. Yeah, no doubt.
And you could have seen the despondency of the Chelsea coach, Graham Potter.
At his
he's
player.
actually
not
thinking,
the decision.
Yeah, Kai Havertz, what are you thinking?
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't have your arm there. And actually these days...
And this is Ismail's moment.
Yeah.
The World Cup.
There's so many every time I'm watching games, I see a World Cup win on television.
He literally
this is what
strangled it inside. 2-0. Now, at this point, Ismail, I'm thinking, this is the FA Cup. The oldest, you know, the most traditional cup, most competitive. It has all those fairy tales. I'm thinking 2-0, Chelsea need to up their game here. After this, they never showed up again. Yeah. And the third goal there from, that must be Rodri, who drifted that ball in. Yeah. Rodri drifted it in. I want you to have a look. You'll see in the replay there how Mahrez receives and kills that ball with his left, and then just passes it into Kyle Walker's path, and the no-look pass right there. There. Kills it, and then just walks it. And then look at the run right there. Let's just bring it a little bit, and you have a look at that run. Because that's Hall, the youngster there. Yeah,
he's sucked in.
Hall is sucked in. Yeah. If you are to just have a look at it here, he's sucked in here, leaving Koulibaly having two City players. He doesn't know what to do. And then you have, if you have to just bring that, you have an on-rushing Kyle Walker. Look at Kyle Walker running. There you go. And he's through. Look who is here. 3 City players. All of them waiting for whatever comes out from Kyle Walker. And this pass coming here, eliminating Hall. And once Kyle Walker is in here, it's a no-look pass from Kyle Walker. And Phil Foden says, thank you very much. No chance for Kepa. 3-0.
Yeah,
no game
actually,
here
Andrew, for me, the moment I start to feel like this is a goal is the moment the television image when that ball comes in from the left.
Yes.
And Riyad Mahrez receives. The first thing that I notice, he has one defender to beat. And I almost think Mahrez is going to beat any single defender, and there's no support.
And he didn't need to move.
But he was just in front there.
Yeah.
He was so
He's so far away. And I'm actually thinking maybe when Mahrez receives the ball, as he kills it, one of the central defenders has to move out of his position and come to support Hall. So when you leave Hall alone...
Now right there, the defender that you had actually is... You had Shalaba and... no, you had Koulibaly in the middle. Koulibaly is in the middle of nowhere. He's just... Who is marking who is wandering. And then, the moment Kyle Walker walks in, behind... actually, it's... Koulibaly, and it's in. Now, Ismail, if you thought this was a good goal, wait for the 4th goal. Not necessarily the goal, but the run up to the goal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, we're still enjoying this sumptuous pass from Mahrez and the finish from Foden.
I love him. I love him.
Yeah. Now, Chelsea were attacking when they conceded. There you go. That's a good save there. Almost that's when Mount came on, and a little bit of scare for City. But as Chelsea were looking for that consolation, this is what happened. It's not yet there.
At that point, you think Man City should take the foot off the gas after it's 3-0?
No. That was when Haaland was warming up. And right there, Mahrez could have actually made it 4-0.
Yeah.
What a sweet strike. That's his angle. You never give him that space.
Yeah.
Now, there you go. Now, this move was started quite
deeper,
late, because Kyle Walker, I think, he was, you know, surrounded by Chelsea players, just drifted it, and Mahrez was alone. Here they had already teamed up on him. But he has what? Look at that. This is what Mahrez does. He has 3. Okay? 3 of them, and you have an oncoming Bernardo Silva. So look at it, what happens here. So eliminates the 3, Bernardo Silva is right there, and Bernardo Silva releases Foden, no chance, Koulibaly foul. That, you could argue, could have been a red card, but perhaps he was judged to have gone for the ball, just missed it.
The intention is to play the ball.
The intention was not malicious. There was an effort to go for the ball, and an easy decision for the referee. Yeah. And of course, this time, no chance for the World Cup winner to dispatch the penalty. We needed someone who would deliver it sweetly,
good about that.
not strangle it in. And Mahrez, the Algerian, who Uganda will face in Kampala here, because he didn't travel. There you go, sweetly thumping it through the middle. No chance for Kepa, 4-0. And City will face the winner between Arsenal and
Oxford.
Stevenage.
No, Oxford United.
Oxford.
I hope our director can play us some pictures.
Arsenal and Oxford, yes.
Yeah, because that game is on right now.
So Arsenal, sort yourself. I think it should be happening now. 15 minutes in, Arsenal, Oxford. So you can choose your battles. Do you want to meet City or concentrate on the Premier League?
Are you good?
Back to you, Rema.
What happens?
Well, thank you so much, Andrew. And of course, that has been Chelsea for you and Manchester City. They are bossing everything. And of course, like he has said, Arsenal should choose their battles. Is it the Premier League or should they concentrate on both? Plus the FA there. Well, we are going for the...
and that's the game. Wonder what the scoreline is. It's at Oxford United. The game is right there on television. I hope there isn't an upset here. There was one for Stevenage.
You hope? What's the FA Cup for? We want upsets.
Upsets, and of course those other teams coming up aside the Premier League. Well, we are now into Chan. Uganda will be in action. Some big group there. Big. Group B, yes. I call it the group of death because you can't have a Senegal, you can't have an Ivory Coast. A DR Congo, 2-time champions there. Senegal with all their experience and facilities. And of course, Ivory Coast, and hope to have chances at such a tournament, especially when you have featured for 6 editions. And all that time...
This is the 6th, actually.
Yes, the 6th. And all that time, you have not really made that difference. I think I've only won 1 game ever since we featured.
Yeah.
It's
is it more than that?
Yeah.
It's one game conceded 24 goals and scored, well, we have the numbers here, but just so you know,
scored like 11.
2011 scored 1, conceded 5.
Yeah.
2014 scored 3, conceded 4. 2016 scored 3, conceded 4. 2018 scored 2, conceded 4. 2020 at least in 1 game against Morocco, we conceded 5. So it's been quite... I've written about this, Ismail, several times.
Yeah.
We share a very good record with DRC of being the team with the most qualifications, and that's 6. But the comparison stopped there because DRC are 2-time champions. Now we want to get out of the group stage. Micho is aware. Ugandans are aware, the players are aware. Of course, you wouldn't want the teams that we have in our group, Senegal, DRC, and the Ivory Coast, who are hosting next year, AFCON, I think. But if you really want to progress, you've got to stand and do something about it. Now, the thing is, Ismail, as I've written, we don't score that much, yet we are conceding so much. And we are facing this tradition. Of course, it's not the senior teams, but the culture is there. And you're thinking Uganda's chances are minimizing on leaking goals.
Shrinking.
And smash and grab the other end.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. I don't know. I think for me, the one thing that we should judge this team now is how much competitive will they be? How much football will they play?
Now, Andrew, there are things that stand out for me heading in this tournament. One has got to be the debate around the squad selection.
Yeah.
One of them has been that, of course, especially the choice of the coach Mitchell in ignoring Ibrahim Kasule of Wakiso Giants, who for many has been the best player in the large portions of the league so far. Choosing not to pick him for the tournament. Probably there are a few others in there. The other one has got to be, of course, Mitchell's style. Of course, he's a defense-first player. And for me, it's normally very unfortunate to watch someone head to their peak. And I love my economics. I could call myself an A student of economics, actually. My classmates will bear testimony.
We still don't have a governor, Bank of Uganda.
The law of diminishing marginal returns or diminishing marginal utility applies maybe to someone like Mitchell. I think we've seen him rise to the peak. And then now he appears to be in deceleration.
Yeah.
And I want to give him a chance to redeem his reputation, because the worst thing that happens as the Cranes head into this CHAN in Algeria, for me, lies in the detail, in the one detail, that Mitchell goes into this tournament when there isn't so much faith in him as a person.
Yeah.
I do not think even if the players fail to do well, that we are going to look at where they didn't keep their positions well when they conceded a goal, whether they missed chances or anything. I think the debate is centered around Mitchell. Currently, in football, around the national team, Mitchell is perhaps at his most unpopular moment.
Yeah.
The fans who watch this game, who follow the league, do not like him anymore in the job. Many people who do the job that you and I are doing here do not think he's the right man anymore. I bet this even is among the players. So it's not a very good place to start for Mitchell. You're going to a tournament where you're extremely as unpopular as he is with so many people. I would love a situation where come Saturday, DR Congo against Uganda, Mitchell and his team put up a kind of performance which is a perfect kick in the teeth to all of us, to all the fans, because today the person who backs Mitchell the most, and actually is perhaps the most important, is his employer. The former president, Moses Magogo, is the one who will come and say, we have a plan, and Mitchell is one going to execute it. And it's the reason why he's in the job, even with all this bad publicity around him as an individual. And sometimes this can be counterproductive. Now, when you detach Mitchell from that, then go to the players. Ugandan players, traditionally when you've gone to the CHAN, the best players in this league, because it's a tournament for only players in the local, on the African continent, in the local leagues, most of these players, even when they've been excellent in this league, have not gone to the CHAN and thrilled us. Right from the first edition in Sudan in 2009, I think the only goal back then was scored by Saddam Juma, the only one that Uganda did score in the tournament. There hasn't been players who have gone, maybe a few of them, maybe pick on Yunus Sentamu and Farouk Mia,
actually,
who used this as a platform.
Actually, they thrilled us in the first 1 or 2 games. Farouk Mia, Yunus Sentamu and Francis Olaki, if you remember 2014.
Exactly, that is 2014. So there hasn't been much. You've carried these teams to the CHAN, and actually it's because of the CHAN, if you remember, that's where Moses Magogo made that a reckless statement that many of us did not like, that left a bad taste in our mouth when he said shitty football. He was actually referring to some of the football that players played at the CHAN, because that's where the dates were, and players wanted money and that had not been paid, and then he comes and says, how do you deserve to get paid when you play shitty football? And in actual sense, maybe that was a word for the fans, because when it's shitty football, the buck stops with him as president. He's one who is handed the responsibility to deliver a team that plays the football that's going to make all of us proud. So when I watched his video the other week, giving this rousing speech to the players, go there, make a reputation. You remember, you're going to war. When you go to a war, if you don't shoot, you'll get shot. The kind of message. And when I watched the video, I was thinking, okay, he's combining this to the players, but most of the criticism eventually will come back to him and the federation and Mitchell. So for me, if there's something I would want to say on this show, for me it would be an appeal to the players. If we are going to criticize you when you do wrong, because that's part of our job, but we are probably the biggest lifters when you do well. We'll lift you to heights you've never felt before. So these players have to go there and put their hands up. So often they do not put their hands up.
Yeah, they have to, because I think it's so clear that every time we go, we come back after the group. We play our mandatory games at the tournament. Now, we need to go beyond that. You'll argue we have tough teams, but I mean, this is about the same level. They've got to push. But again, Ismail, it's true, Mitchell takes this team at the worst time possible. One, the World Cup, the AFCON qualifiers 2023-24 started on the worst note possible. Bottom of the group, 1 point. That point earned against Niger here
at home.
And then you lost, of course, to Algeria. That for me was expected. And then you have Chan, where you have Senegal, Ivory Coast, and DRC. And you're looking at the two, perhaps DRC and Ivory Coast.
No, the DRC should be the strongest in the group, but I do not think Senegal and Ivory Coast are very strong, because most of their best players travel to Europe very early. Or some of them have grown up in Europe or born in Europe. So, and I've not seen, normally the measure I use to judge some of the teams at the CHAN, for me goes back to how good their clubs perform in the Champions League and the Confederations Cup. Now, I do not see Senegalese and Ivorian clubs compete at that level.
They've actually taken long without featuring, I think, some 12 years.
Yeah, they're just back. I agree with that, but also don't miss the fact that if your dad was strong in the village and no one threatened you, you would know that the entire clan is strong. So there's that mentality that you come with. I mean, we are Senegal, we are African,
we are Ivory Coast.
We are Ivory Coast. So there's that as well. But going back to Mitchell, I think even if he must have to do terribly well to lose the job, because you have the back-to-back games against Tanzania in March. Now, you could argue, yes, they let go of McKinstry. Perhaps the faith wasn't as much. Mitchell, they've worked with him before. They think he can turn something around against Tanzania, for example. But also, we don't know the specifics in his contract. Perhaps the contract could be 2026 World Cup. And this is just part of the process.
Exactly. So, there. In fact, Andrew should be preparing. We check out the head-to-head. We see what our viewers have to say as far as Def Villa and Raul Gonzalez are concerned. Who did it better? In a minute.
As Andrew reads that head-to-head, probably Anandro says this is one of the most difficult segments on the show, because sometimes we have to make a case. And Andrew,
I don't think I'm going to make a case. I'm going to talk good things about both.
Okay.
Both strikers.
I'll start with Raul Gonzalez, because I was very lucky. I think the moment I started to understand the game or understand sport as much as I think I do, I may be wrong. I think that's the time when Raul Gonzalez came to the scene. And this is a player who I could say first watched very well come off the bench around 1997, because he had been part of the Madrid team at the time, but was largely a bench player for 3 years prior to that. Then came into that era where Madrid started to win again, starting with that Champions League back in 1998, and then eventually part of the Galactico era. The one thing whenever I think about Raul that comes to mind with the finishing, because the striker, spring finisher, one of those strikers who hardly could shoot the ball, but actually scored a lot of goals because he caressed the ball into the net most of the time. I like the scope. Every time I think about Raul, when you get one-on-one with him, he's going to let the goalkeeper come in and do that lob. And there are so many. I've not seen probably a striker with the ability to lob the ball as good as Raul Gonzalez. One-on-one, the first option. Do not think about the ability to dribble past a goalkeeper, go around him the way Ronaldo, Dalima would, or all the others. For me, it was always the ability to scoop. that ball. Did very well for Real Madrid, won multiple league titles, won the Champions League, which was Madrid's, which is what Madrid wanted the most. There comes one of those scoops. Eventually, of course, was a contributor in some of those, especially that final when they beat Valencia back in 2000. He scored one of the goals when they beat Valencia by 3-0. Did not do well for Spain. It was part of an era where Spain struggled because sometimes it was about their style. They looked, they were not physically matched up for so many of the opponents they played. But a poet, for me, one of those poets with the ball, because for people who thrive on strength, Raul had none of that. Never strong, but you dreaded facing him, because when he gets his chances, he took them. That should be the finish in that final. When he takes it round the goalkeeper with his left foot.
Rio Ferdinand said he is the most intelligent striker he has ever met.
And he could be right. He could be right. He could be right, because look at the options he has.
Maybe
right,
Isma, we can talk about them that way, because I feel strongly about both. For me, when I think about Raul, I see flamboyance. I see vision. I see.
You use the word vision?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vision. I see. He could see almost everywhere in the front third of the pitch, and then like you said, he never had that powerful shot. Yet it always evaded the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
And the way when you pit the two together, both good goal scorers, both supremely right-footed, Villa and then Raul left, but they used both. But then, when you think of Raul, and you're thinking, who is good on the eye? Raul. Like, who is this guy you want to look at? The guy who is good on the eye.
Raul was very unstoppable.
Now, Andrew, when someone maybe has to make a case for David Villa, when Spain struggled with all these things, because maybe at club level they won right about the same. Of course, David Villa was part of the greatest club football side that I've watched, at least that single season.
Temporarily.
When Guardiola came in, that season, 2008-9, I think they did everything humanly possible in football.
He joined after the World Cup?
Yeah.
Because he scored in the final of 2011.
Yeah, 2011.
He was in Valencia when they won the World Cup.
When they won the World Cup, then he joined thereafter. But, okay, came after that side, because the side that I'll talk about did not have David Villa. But David Villa, for everything that Raul and Fernando Morientes and all these great Spanish strikers did, and you could go on the others, Diego Tristan, there are several of them who played. Fernando Torres and all. Okay, Torres eventually was a difference maker as they won the Euro back in 2008, scored that goal against Germany in the final. But it's David Villa for me that Spanish football lacked. For all the talent they had,
he was a combination.
He was the guy who completed everything. He was a Raul, he was a Morientes, he was a Fernando Torres. Very fast if you got him that kind of chance. Then a finisher, the type that Spain had lacked for a very long time. Because if you match up their careers, Raul and Villa, for Madrid and Barcelona, maybe there won't be much of a difference. The difference is what David Villa brought to
actually, club football, Raul is head and shoulders above.
Yeah.
But when you come to the national team, now this David Villa owned that.
Yeah.
He just didn't. He wasn't just part of the team that won things with Spain. He actually was the engine around that. So and he had the passion for actually scoring both shots outside the box and inside.
Yeah.
And he never stood there waiting for balls. He actually came to help teammates, created those flanks for passes, played well behind the strikers. He was complete.
Yeah. And then when you find time, some of the viewers go to YouTube, and these days people understand their YouTube. Go find the free kick he scored for Valencia against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. The wall was right there. He went round the wall. The ball looked like it was going out, then it came back in. And I'm thinking, that's ridiculous. You can't do that. But then it was just a mere youngster. But
maybe one thing we didn't say about Raul, because of the class, flamboyance, and elegance, and flair, and all, the way he played his game, he was nicknamed the Ferrari. You don't take
Must
that
have been
much.
that fast.
The Ferrari.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want me to go through the.
Yes, please.
So we have Himsiwe Osborne, who says Villa played for more teams and still shone. He was lucky to be in a winning Spanish. Wow. He scored meaningful goals for Spain. However, Raul was a fox, had a name and reached far and wide. Captain the Galacticos, that's enough. He's better. Ashraf, David Gonzalez, David Villa did better. I see him on YouTube. Okay. Last king of Bulago, Raul. Dan Muyodi, greetings to Ismail Dakar and Remy. I think David Villa was a joy to watch. There's an Ismail here, David Villa. Elon Jules, when the Champions League was peaking popularity in Uganda in the late 90s and early 2000s, before Ronaldo da Lima and before the Galacticos Real Madrid, almost solely relied on their best Raul Madrid.
Actually, yeah, I mentions that because there's a time when I saw that headline, still in high school, in the newspaper, and it wasn't Real Madrid, it was called Raul Madrid, because that's how much they depended on him.
Yeah.
And maybe perhaps differences.
And he's also called Blanco.
Yeah,
and
Blanco.
The Blancos.
Raul Madrid. And perhaps the other thing is that maybe Raul does not go through the layers of football, because for him, he came out of at an early age from Atletico and went to Real Madrid as a teenager. So he started at the top. Now,
he actually started in Madrid C, then B, then immediately before he settled in B, 94.
He went to the first team. Now, the difference is that David Villa is a testament of careers that go, because he started as Sporting Gijón.
Yeah.
Then developed, went to Valencia, then got to Barcelona. That kind of journey, and some footballers do not have, because when one day when we discuss someone, for example, like Marcus Rashford, he doesn't have the layers of Leyton Orient, the scars of playing at the Jamie Vardy kind of scars, you know, from Fleetwood Town to all these kind of teams. Now that's where David Villa came from. Now Raul Gonzalez did not have that.
It's I don't know, you're taking David Villa?
Man, tonight I just want to appreciate those two strikers. They're uniquely different,
let's celebrate
supremely
them.
gifted.
Well, we call last time's prediction, that was in 2022.
Did we?
Let's see what happened on that day. Producer.
Did the producer...
So Andrew, Gaddafi versus URA.
Gaddafi 1, URA 1.
Very confident. I'm going to skip Mujib, I'll get back to him. Rehma, Gaddafi, URA.
Gaddafi 2-1.
I go with Gaddafi 2, URA 1. Mujib Kasule.
0-0.
0-0.
You know
Okay, the next one. Bright Stars against KCCA. Rehma, you're going first.
Bright Stars, KCCA. I'm giving KCCA 2-0.
Mujib.
2-1 KCC.
Andrew.
1-0 KCC.
I'm going with a 2-all draw. Then the last game, which is on Thursday at 11 p.m. live on DSTV on SuperSport, is Man City against Liverpool. I'll go first. I'll go with a 1-all draw and then extra time, where Man City will knock out Liverpool from this competition. Andrew, Man City, Liverpool.
Man City 3. Haaland is rested. Liverpool 1.
Mujib?
2-1 Liverpool. Liverpool always wins these ones.
The one's going nowhere.
I'm going for 3-0 Liverpool.
3-0 Liverpool.
That's brave.
Very brave.
Well, that was amazing. In 2022, we kick off the 2023 with a couple of games here. And of course, we'll be giving our predictions. Andrew, I start with you. DRC Congo versus Uganda Chan Championships.
I'm starting this year in fine form. DRC 1-0. Yeah.
Isma?
DRC these days coached by former Uganda Cranes,
Sub.
the Sabri. Sebastian, I'm going with...
wait a minute.
Yeah.
On that point,
Yeah.
it's 2-1. Because the sub scores goals. Please, 2-1. 2-1 DRC.
Okay, I'm going with DRC 2-0.
I'm giving Uganda a chance, and I'll give, of course, I'll say DRC 2, giving Uganda a chance to score at least a goal.
So,
2-1.
2-1, okay.
Yes.
You had feared to say Uganda is losing on TV.
Clash, Clash of the Titans there. Manchester City versus Manchester United. Apparently, the Titans, because Manchester United these days is considering themselves on the title.
You know what?
And of course, Manchester City.
United have been winning games.
Yeah.
And for me, this is their biggest test of can they stand up against elite opposition. And this is also Ten Hag's, glass to really look through the prisms. So I'm going to, is it a FA Cup or no?
It's a league game. Early kickoff on Saturday.
Early kickoff. Early kickoffs are really bad.
And you're at your home, Old Trafford.
Rashford will score the winner. United 2-1.
2-1, Manchester United 2-1 there. Isma?
I'm going with a 2-all draw.
I'm going with a 1-0 draw. Manchester United 1, Manchester City 1. Tottenham, London derby here. Tottenham Hotspurs versus Arsenal. Arsenal on top of the table. Tottenham a bit of struggle there. Andrew?
Arsenal will win the game 2-1.
2-1. Isma?
I'm going with... Can Spurs get worse? Can they get
That's
worse?
what I was thinking.
Yeah, because they were so bad the other week.
That's what I was
Then
thinking.
they came back and drew game 2-all. Hurricane loves us, no?
Yeah.
He always scores. I'm going with
on top of his game.
I'm going with Spurs to win the game 3-2.
Actually, I'm supporting you. No, I haven't changed my prediction,
Yeah.
but I'm okay with you as doing it.
I'm going with Arsenal 2-1 in favor of Arsenal.
Okay.
And then Napoli, Juventus. Andrew?
1-1.
1-1.
Yeah.
Napoli were perhaps the best team in Europe before the World Cup. Then they came back and lost a game to Inter Milan. I was thrilled to see them win over the weekend against Sampdoria away from home. Juve have won, 8 or 9 in a row now, even with all their financial problems. Difficult one. I'm calling a Napoli win. Napoli to win 2-1.
I'm saying Juventus 2, Napoli 1.
Okay. We'll see.
Well, that's it for us here. We are winding up, yes. And of course, it's been wonderful having you. It's been a beautiful beginning to the year 2023. Recognize me. Of course, Andrew, there you'll have to tell us what our viewers have had to say.
Oh, on
as far as
Recognize Me.
Recognize Me is concerned.
I saw someone say Saint Maxima.
Alan Saint Maxima.
Osborne, no, Osborne, these ones I've read already. Let me read the ones I've not read yet. To Mimisa Enoch Aboki Ika Casillas Fernandez, a Spanish former professional footballer who played as a goalkeeper and currently works as a football commentator. And then we have the only boy, he's wondering. Kasim Ian says, obviously, that's James Ward-Prowse. Arukara Ked Victor, this could be Son of Spurs. And then Luchiko says Saint Anatoly Koliso.
No.
And then Martin St. Maxim, Chitio Issa, Gareth Bell. I said it right. He's even insisting, okay? Muhindo Jimmy says, I'm here to copy answers, okay? It's Tueva Ze who says, wow, we'll be back. I smell. No. But anyway, Luchamus ends it with, Luchamus Charles ends it with Ika Casillas.
You know, when I saw Saint, my mind ran to a Southampton player. I don't know the name. When they reveal, maybe
I also don't know.
I hope it's James Ward-Prowse, because boy, doesn't he score free kicks. Actually scored another one this weekend in the FA Cup. as Southampton came from a goal down to beat Crystal Palace 2-1 away from home at Selhurst Park. So when the director plays that, we see who that is in the adult life. Ike
Casillas. Boys are sharp tonight.
Wow, very sharp indeed.
So why is it, in the other young people, why does he have his arm on something?
He was resting somewhere on a stone or something.
Yeah, it looks like Sarajevo in 94. Somewhere in Bosnia.
But you know the comment I like most?
Yeah.
Saint Maxim.
Alan Saint Maxim.
Yeah, because I mean that's the kind of guy who would even copy your name. Yeah. Because there's a Saint Maxima. Had to be him, regardless of the...
You remind me of our time studying Arabic, and people would copy even the name of a person they are copying from, because Arabic was that difficult
you
for some.
You wouldn't know what to write.
Ike Casillas, a legend, a legend of the game.
Very much a legend, and a goalkeeper in his own world, and of course winning so much for Real Madrid. I don't think we can go further than this. We call it a night. Thank you so much, whoever has been a part of the show. It's been wonderful having you, and once again, Happy New Year. We'll be back come next week.